First of all, thank you guys for being here. Welcome. I hope you enjoyed the cold cuts and water and cookies and
We
stuff.
made those.
Yeah. But we'd like to thank Tyler and Josh for being here. These guys are on the road constantly. They do a lot of these things. And it's funny, I was having a conversation with somebody while everybody was eating your cold cuts. And it's really cool that you guys still do this stuff for your fans. There's so many bands that are doing paid meet and greets and,
Are we not
What?
well,
There'll be someone with a hat at the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've always tried to come up with different ways to fill out the stage, whether it's with sound or visuals. We were a firm believer from the beginning that our talent and our songs alone aren't going to be enough to get people to turn around from the game that they're watching at the bar that we're playing. We got to do something to get their attention. And at first it started like that, but then because we did that so often in front of almost no one for a while, it started to become just how we approached every show, even though now people aren't paying attention. But releasing a new record, it's kind of, I think with this record, we tipped into a part of our career, which is a very lucky and fortunate part of our career, but where we have more songs than we can play in a single show. So now all of a sudden we're having to pick and choose, what's the set list going to look like? How do we build this out? Obviously we're excited about playing some of the new songs, but we don't want to lose sight of the fact that a lot of people, including us, still like playing the old songs. So how do we piece that together? And it's that's probably the most challenging thing, putting a show together as we continue to release music. But again, like I said, it's a good place to be because a lot of bands don't get to this point.
So when you have all those songs, just because of the production of what you guys are doing, do you have the ability to change it up? Like, can you guys give each other the look and all right, we want to do, you know what, we're going to change it up. Instead of doing this song that we have here on our set list, we're going to do something completely different.
We've talked about doing that, and it pretty much all comes down to our lighting director, who kills all of our fun. No, it is very logistic, kind of how everything's set up, and it's the more stuff that you add on stage, the more everyone wants it to just kind of be familiar to them. The people who are kind of
we kind of equate it to we used to make hard lefts in a canoe.
Yeah.
And now it's a giant cruise ship.
Right.
We're
Takes
asking
a minute.
to make a hard left on.
Yeah.
So we got to consider all the departments that are putting on the show. But what's really cool is a lot of bands and artists at this stage would usually hire what they would call a music director or show director, someone who basically envisions what the show should look like, feel like, and create all the tracks and everything so that the show smoothly moves from one song to the next. That's something that we've always held close to our chest, and we are doing that ourselves. And even though it doesn't change from night to night, there are so many months of preparation and kind of dreaming up of what we want the show to be. And it's really cool to say that the vision comes from and is continually directed by us two up on stage, and that's something we feel like people would notice if we were to give that up.
I was already standing on top of this pedestal way higher than I should be standing on top of this pedestal in the middle of an arena. Now what?
Josh is working on his double backflip.
Yeah.
The older I get, the more flips I'm gonna do.
Do you guys get shit from your women about don't do that?
Oh yeah, no, they
Okay.
don't.
You gotta stop doing that.
Please be careful. Stuff like that.
It's more my mom than my
Really?
fiance. Yeah.
Well, that's what he meant. You're women.
Yeah.
All the important women in your life. Mom, fiance. What has been the most memorable moment from the Trench era so far? So whether it's the recording process, going out on the road with the new material.
I think one of the moments that sticks out to me is our first show back. You spend all this time writing and recording new songs, but also just everything that goes along with it, the color palette, the style, the narrative, everything that we believe should be a part of a new record. And we're kind of, for months and months, talking our own language about something that didn't exist yet. And you almost kind of wonder, are we crazy? And then that first show we played, we actually debuted the record, live in London, and seeing the crowd in the way that they looked, in the way that they acted, in the way they responded to songs. It was like finally someone else was responding to us in a language that we had created, in a way that was telling us we're not crazy. And so that first show was definitely one of my favorite moments.
And even like right before that show, we were walking in the venue down a hall where you could see out the window, and the people outside had the tape, and that was the first moment that we saw that kind of in the wild. So it was.
You guys are wild.
Yeah, that was. It was. I think we kind of talked about it, and we were just like, we hadn't even got on stage yet, but it was comforting to know that our people were there.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody wants to see what you guys are going to have next because, again, you guys put the work in, you actually care, you even think and worry about that stuff, and how is this going to be received. And part of that sounds like almost like when you find out you're having a kid.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about the process of, worrying about how this is going to be, and did we make a mistake, or, like, because you don't know. First-time parenting is a rough thing.
For sure.
But you hear artists talk about, the songs and the albums are like their children, so it is a pretty interesting parallel. The next question is, and this is like a therapeutic type question. So, what is your favorite thing? We'll start with Josh. What is your favorite thing about that guy? If you had to pick one thing.
Where do you start? I think Tyler's one of the most, like for every opinion that Tyler has, there's like a book of reasons behind why. So if he becomes friends with somebody, it's pretty much like friends for life. So I think that Tyler's probably one of the most loyal people that I've ever met, and I feel like we'll always be buds. Because of the million reasons why he likes me.
And I'm assuming this, I have to answer that.
Yes, of course, yes.
His abs. There's so many ways that, it's silly and kind of cheesy to talk about, but there's so many moments that we go through, our daily, which we spend a lot of time together, where we're helping the other. We're very aware of what we're not good at and what the other is not good at. For example, he'll know exactly how to get back to our green room after this. For some reason, I just lose all sense of direction, especially in a building. And so I just look at him like, where do we go? But vice versa, if someone will walk up to him and say, Josh, good to see you again. And he's like, hey, yeah, good to see you. And then, then Josh will turn to me and be like, who was that? And so then I'll fill him in, that's this person. That. So for some reason, there's just certain things that I lack at that he excels at, and then vice versa. And it's really cool to kind of see those moments fill each other in.
Well, you end up, because you spend so much time together, you guys have been doing this for so long, a lot of milestone moments in your lives, happen with each other. So even though you're not actual brothers.
My first kiss.
Right. It's almost like, you grew up together. Speaking of moms, let's talk about parents for a second. This is a question from Camille. What do your parents say now about your success? It's not every day that you pump out a couple of rock stars, you know what I mean? And that's got to be kind of weird. I think about just my own kids. It's got to be kind of weird seeing, you know, their baby and what has happened, and like the fans that are camping outside of venues or places just to meet you guys or see you guys and see you guys perform. So like, what do they say about all this?
They take an unnecessary amount of credit. No, our parents, both of our parents are very supportive. They were from the beginning, too. And as much as there were moments when we were explaining to them, because Josh and I have talked about this, we had our own versions of breaking it to our parents that we wanted to pursue music. We didn't really know what that meant or where to turn next, or we just knew that that's what we wanted to do. And they were very understanding, sometimes skeptical, but then once they saw the product, they saw what we were working on, they came to those first shows. They were the ones helping us sell tickets and, you know, trying to get people to go to shows. And so from the beginning, rightfully so, they've taken the credit because they've been behind us the whole time. And they get a kick out of it sometimes when, you know, my mom will say, "Hey, can I have the window seat in an airplane?" And they're like, "No, why?" I'm like, "Well, I noticed you have a 21 Pilots shirt on, and that's my son." They're like, "All right, here's the window seat." So they figure out ways to utilize it.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Have you gotten to do? I've talked to, I mean, not just musicians, but celebrities who have, you know, quote, made it, and you know, they all seem to have this idea that, you know, when they reach a certain level of success, they can't wait to do something for their parents. Have you been able to do anything, or have you done something already for your parents? Like, you know, car, a house, you know, snowmobile.
That's
Something fun.
Yeah.
Snowmobile.
I'm in Ohio, you can get used to having a snowmobile.
Yeah. No, actually, we both helped our parents get a house.
Yeah,
So-
so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I see videos like, okay, so I'm not a super like tear up kind of guy. Soldiers coming home to like those reunion things.
Yeah.
Now dogs recognizing their owner who they haven't seen forever. That's two. And then this other one, like you see like some guy bought his dad a new truck.
Yeah, like a
or like
professional athlete that's able to. Yeah, I've seen those.
I'm like, that's
Gets
fucking
you.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
it gets you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about
Pretty neat.
like movies that we've cried in.
Yeah.
And I realized that it is like when you see good things. It's not like sad things that will like get to me, but it's like when you see humanity being good or doing cool things, it makes me feel emotional. So I'm with you. I feel.
What's it like to be able to take your shirt off and be confident about it? What's that?
I would like to know.
Okay. That's gotta be pretty
Yeah,
cool.
don't get it twisted. He's scared to death up there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable up there. I'm physical. I mean, yeah.
Here's a question going back to your hometown. So when you finally do get to go back home or to the state of Ohio just in general, is there one thing in particular you look forward to going to, like a restaurant or a thing you have to do when you're home?
I look forward to using my own towels. It's one of my favorite parts of going home. Restaurant. You know, we were just talking about this.
Or whatever it is. Like, you know,
Yeah,
when
no,
you go
no,
home,
we
yeah.
can
I know a
do
lot of
this.
people come back to California, it's like In-N-Out. They gotta hit In-N-Out as soon as they get
I'm
here.
sorry. I think In-N-Out is garbage.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know that that's a polarizing opinion. I
The
get
first
that.
time we ever came to California, it was we were 22, and so that's 22 years of people really hyping up In-N-Out.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not In-N-Out's fault. It's that everyone's
No, it's not their
Yeah.
fault, but everybody made it out to be like the
Is
greatest.
there
thing.
overhyped food? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
I just really think I think that I just feel like they don't care if those are the fries that you're serving. There's no way that there's pride in what you're serving. That's it.
And have you ever tried Five Guys?
Yeah. Five Guys is good. Have you been to Shake Shack?
Yeah.
Shake Shack is legit
Yeah.
too. You can't hit on that.
I mean, now we're just throwing out names and not getting any money for it.
But to answer your question, there is
Yeah.
a particular item at Taco Bell that is regional. It's not everywhere. I don't know if you knew this. In fact, this particular item is, it's deemed so unhealthy that most states don't allow it. It's
But
called
Ohio-
the chili cheese burrito.
Oh yeah.
And
Menace just lit up.
and it is it can be found in the wild in Ohio, and
Yeah.
that's what we're excited to go home for.
Yeah.
Chili cheese burrito. Look how psyched he is.
And we'll hype that one. We'll hype that one for people to wait 20 years to go and try.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Like guys who really care about what they're doing and why they're doing it, and so it's a better experience for the fans. I know we gotta let you guys go because you have a show to prepare for tonight, which all you guys are gonna be at the show tonight. And the last thing I'll bring up to you is that you know a running theme talking to you guys over the years has in the albums and everything you guys have been doing is this insecurity, this wonder, or this doubt, or anxiety, or you know, at different times. At this point, to where you guys are now, and everything is like you know well established, how do you feel? Are you feeling good? Are you happy?
I feel good. No,
Has some of that been alleviated?
it is a good question.
Does success alleviate some of that, or is it one of those things that's just constantly there?
There are aspects of past struggles that, in a sense, have been solved. But, you know, it's kind of cliche, but with every problem you solve, something else pops up. And we feel very normal. Feel like we are the same people we were when we started doing this. And maybe a lot of our day in the past was, we want to accomplish this, but I just got a speeding ticket, so I can't afford it. Now we can get a speeding ticket and it doesn't ruin our lives. So financially, we're very fortunate to be able to do this for a living. And so in a sense, that solved a lot. But the stuff that's inside, I know that you've heard this before. I mean, that doesn't even come close to solving that stuff. There is something about creating something and showing people and then hearing that they like it. That's like, wow, that's a source of confidence that I didn't know existed, which is part of the reason why we can get up on that stage and strut around and think we're sweet. But with that is this whole other side, this duality, where it's like, man, I have to convince them that I'm awesome because I know that I'm not. And so, like I said, with everything that we've solved, something else has come up, and I'm glad that's the case though, because I wonder if we were to solve everything about our personal lives, would we still gravitate towards music? Would we still even want to write music anymore? Would we still want to play a show? Would we still want to use music to solve those problems that continue to come up? So it's not a problem to solve, it's a tension to manage, something that's always going to be there, and you got to figure out how to teeter it, putting something on this side, something on this side, so that you can stay center, and that's what we're learning to do.
Well, I think I speak on behalf of everybody here. I mean, you guys are great guys, and you deserve all the success and the happiness that have your personal lives and professional lives. And thanks for staying so cool, and thanks for being so rad, and thank you for doing this. 21 Pilots, everybody. So.